I woke up to the sound of my phone buzzing on the nightstand. It wasn't my alarm, and I wasn't expecting any calls at this ungodly hour. Groggy and disoriented, I fumbled for it and squinted at the screen. A notification from my security camera app stared back at me, motion detected. My heart jolted. No deliveries were scheduled, and it was far too early for random visitors. Rubbing sleep from my eyes, I tapped the live feed. That's when I saw it, a hulking concrete slab dominating the center of my driveway. I bolted out of bed, pulse hammering in my chest. What in the world was I looking at? My car was still safely tucked in the garage, but this monstrosity meant I was effectively trapped. Someone had poured and set an entire block of concrete overnight, right where my driveway used to be. Panic morphed into rage as I threw on clothes and stormed outside. The sun was just creeping over the rooftops, casting an eerie shadow from the barrier across my yard. My mind reeled, struggling to make sense of the absurdity. Then I spotted her, standing across the street, arms crossed, a smug grin plastered on her face. Linda, my insufferable neighbor. The self-proclaimed ruler of the HOA and the bane of my existence since the day I moved in. Her sleek brunette bob was as polished as her attitude, and even at this hour, she looked ready to dominate a boardroom. "Good morning, neighbor," she chirped, her voice dripping with mock cheer. "I see you've noticed the new addition to your property." I marched toward her, fists balled. "Are you insane? What is this? Who did this?" She sighed theatrically, like a teacher addressing a slow student. "Oh, this? It's a compliance measure. Your driveway was technically an unauthorized extension onto community property. The HOA decided to fix that." I blinked, grappling with the sheer madness of her words. "Unauthorized extension? Linda, this is my driveway. It's been my driveway since I bought this house." She waved a perfectly manicured hand. "Not according to our updated community guidelines. Your driveway extends a few inches past the regulated boundary. We had to act to maintain neighborhood uniformity." My blood pressure spiked. "You've blocked me in. My car's in the garage. How am I supposed to leave?" Linda gasped dramatically, feigning concern. "Oh, dear, that does sound inconvenient. But don't worry, you can always park on the street. It's not like you need a driveway anyway." My fists ached to connect with something, preferably that smug look on her face. "You had no right to do this. Who even approved it?" She brandished a stack of pristine papers and shook them at me. "The HOA board voted on it. It's all official. And before you ask, yes, I spearheaded the effort." "You're welcome." I wanted to scream. This had to be illegal, a prank gone too far. But as I stared at the concrete prison trapping my car, reality sank in. Linda was reveling in every second of this. I stormed back inside, my mind racing. There had to be a way to fight back. Grabbing my laptop, I dove into the HOA regulations, desperate for a loophole. But the deeper I dug, the worse it got. The bylaws were airtight. Modifications for community uniformity and safety were enforceable without homeowner consent. Since they hadn't touched my property but corrected an alleged violation, they'd found a legal gray area. I slammed my laptop shut, furious. This wasn't just about a driveway. It was about control. Linda had been gunning for me ever since I refused to kiss the ring of her HOA empire. Now she'd found her weapon. Hours slipped by as I called the city, legal hotlines, anyone who might help unravel this madness. The answers were maddeningly consistent. It was an HOA matter. If I wanted it gone, I'd have to appeal to the same crooked board that greenlit it, a board firmly under Linda's thumb. By afternoon, I'd hit a wall. Brute force was tempting, but smashing the concrete would land me in a fine-riddled nightmare. I slumped on my porch, glaring at the barrier like it was mocking me. That's when my neighbor Sam ambled over, skateboard tucked under his arm. He caught my expression and whistled. "Man, that's next-level spite," he said, flipping his board into his hands. "What's your plan?" I let out a hollow laugh. "No clue. Can't remove it, can't fight it. I'm stuck." Sam scratched his chin, eyeing the concrete. "You know, that's a pretty smooth surface." I frowned. "What?" He smirked, tapping his skateboard. "That's a perfect skating spot. No cars, no interruptions. If they won't let you use your driveway, why not turn it into something better?" The idea struck me like a thunderbolt. My frustration dissolved, replaced by something daring, brilliant. A slow grin spread across my face. "Sam, I think you just gave me the best idea I've ever had. The plan took shape faster than I could process. If Linda and her HOA cronies wanted to block my driveway, I'd transform it into something they couldn't touch, something that would drive them up the wall. A skate park. The more I thought about it, the more genius it seemed. They'd handed me a flawless concrete canvas, and instead of fighting a losing battle, I'd flip their own rules against them. First, I had to ensure it was legal. I spent hours researching local laws and HOA bylaws, hunting for a way to make my driveway a recreational space without breaking rules. The deeper I went, the more it clicked. While the HOA controlled exterior modifications, there was a loophole for temporary recreational structures. As long as it wasn't permanent and didn't block traffic or access, which they'd already taken care of, it was fair game. It was the perfect counterstrike. I called Sam and laid out the plan. He was all in, not just a hardcore skater, but someone who loathed HOA nonsense as much as I did. Within an hour, he rolled up with a crew of skaters who shared our disdain. They sized up the concrete slab and brainstormed ramps, rails, grind boxes. It was a blank slate for rebellion. Step 1 was bulletproofing it against HOA interference. I filed for a local permit under Temporary Recreational Personal Use Structure. The paperwork was straightforward, and within hours, I had official approval. It was legally untouchable. If Linda tried the city, she'd hit a brick wall. I made copies of the documents, knowing I'd need them soon. By the time I got home, Sam's crew was hauling in supplies, wooden ramps, grind rails, plastic barriers. The vibe was electric. This wasn't just about skating, it was a declaration. As the first ramps went up, neighbors peeked out. Kids biked over, eyes wide. Word spread fast. Linda materialized less than an hour later, charging across the street, face flushed with rage. "What the hell is this?" she shrieked, jabbing a finger at the ramps. I barely hid my grin. "Oh, this? It's a private skate park. A little recreational project for personal use. Nothing permanent. Of course, that'd be against HOA rules." Her eyes narrowed, searching for a flaw. "You can't do this. The HOA has regulations." "Actually," I cut in, handing her the permit. "This is fully legal. City approved as a temporary structure. Since the HOA doesn't ban private skate parks, you've got no move here." She snatched the paper, scanning it, her scowl deepening. I could almost hear her brain scrambling for a counterattack, but there was nothing. "You think this is funny?" she hissed. "You're mocking this neighborhood." I shrugged. No more than the HOA did when they blocked my driveway. Her jaw clenched so hard I thought she'd snap a tooth. Without another word, she spun and stormed off. I knew this wasn't the end, but for now, I'd won round one. As dusk fell, the park came alive. Sam and his crew tested the ramps, kickflips, grinds, laughter ringing out. Kids showed up on bikes and scooters, eager to join. Parents strolled by, some amused, some puzzled, but none upset. The real win came when other homeowners, folks who'd clashed with the HOA, stopped by. One, a guy named Paul, leaned on my fence with a smirk. "This is brilliant. Linda's going to lose it." "That's the plan," I said, watching Sam nail a rail grind. "If they won't let me have a driveway, I'll make it worth it." Paul chuckled. "A lot of us have dealt with her nonsense for years. Maybe it's time we fight back." That struck a chord. If this skate park could spark defiance against Linda's reign, it was already a triumph. Of course, Linda didn't sit idle. The next morning, an HOA violation notice was taped to my door. I tore it off, laughing as I read it. Fined for unauthorized use of community space. My driveway was my property, but now they claimed it as theirs. I grabbed a red marker, scrawled "denied" across it, and taped it to the HOA office door. Linda was back at my doorstep in no time, dragging two reluctant board members. "You think you're clever?" she snapped, waving the notice. "I know I am," I shot back. "And that fine's unenforceable." One board member, an older guy who looked done with life, sighed. "Linda, maybe we should drop this. He's not breaking rules." Linda's glare could have melted steel. "He's making a spectacle of this neighborhood. We can't allow it." The other, a weary middle-aged woman, hesitated. "Honestly, I don't see the harm. The kids like it. It's not damaging anything." Linda's eye twitched. She was losing them. This wasn't just about me anymore. Her grip was slipping. She turned to me, voice low and venomous. "You might think you've won, but this isn't over." I grinned. Oh, I'm counting on that. The grand opening of my skate park was unreal. Word spread that there was a new spot free from city restrictions, and it drew a crowd. Sam's crew invited the local skating scene, and by afternoon, my driveway was a buzzing hub. Skaters of all ages showed off tricks, kids zipped around, even bikers joined in. Wheels grinding, laughter, music, it was everything Linda despised. From her porch, she glowered, arms crossed, occasionally snarling into her phone. I watched, amused, knowing she was powerless. Within 30 minutes, a patrol car rolled up. The crowd barely noticed, too busy cheering a skater's trick. An officer stepped out, confused, and approached me as Linda strutted over, triumphant. "I need to speak to the homeowner," he said. "That's me," I replied, arms crossed as Linda butted in. "This man's running an illegal business," she shrieked. "He's turned his property into a public nuisance. Look at this chaos." The officer gave her a tired glance. "Sir, we got a complaint about noise and an unauthorized event. Are you charging people?" I stifled a laugh. "Not a cent. It's a personal recreational space, free to use, no fees." He frowned, glancing around. "So, no business?" "Nope." I handed him the permit. "Temporary structure, city approved. Since the HOA blocked my driveway, I'm just using the space." Linda's face reddened. But this violates community aesthetics. It's not illegal," I finished. The officer skimmed the paperwork, sighed, and handed it back. "Nothing illegal here. File a noise complaint if it's too loud, but this is within his rights." He nodded at me, got in his car, and left. Linda let out a guttural screech. "This is harassment. He's doing this to spite me." The officer, already uninterested, didn't reply. She whirled on me. "You think you're clever? This won't last." I grinned. "I'm having fun while it does." As she stormed off, Sam clapped my back. "Legendary, dude." The party rolled on, and as the sun dipped, I noticed something bigger unfolding. Neighbors who'd endured Linda's rule emerged. Paul watched with a smirk. An older woman, Susan, brought cookies. "This is the most fun this street's had in years," she said. "Keep it up." This wasn't just revenge, it was reclaiming the neighborhood. Linda escalated the next morning with another violation notice, claiming my property was a hub for delinquent behavior. I laughed it off. She was flailing. Then came the emergency HOA meeting. She'd called it to ban recreational disturbances. I went, eager for the show. The clubhouse was tense. Linda sat at the head, tapping her pen like a dictator. "This meeting addresses the disruption one homeowner has caused," she began, glaring at me. "It degrades property values, invites riffraff, and disrespects our order." I leaned back. "You mean my skate park?" A board member sighed. "Linda, we've checked. He's not breaking laws." "That's not the point," she snapped. "This abomination violates our standards." Another member, Tom, adjusted his glasses. "Does it? I've reviewed the guidelines. He's technically compliant." Her eye twitched. "Then we rewrite the rules." I raised an eyebrow. "You'll rewrite them just to stop me using my property?" "If that's what it takes," she hissed. Paul stood. "I say we put this to a neighborhood vote. If we're changing rules, let everyone decide." Linda paled. The board murmured, then nodded. "We'll vote," one said. She spat. "Fine," glaring at me. "But this isn't over." I smiled. "Wouldn't dream of it." The tide was turning. Linda was losing, and she knew it.